So to start our practice, I think it's good to always have some kind of foundation for this. And within that foundation of yoga, I was thinking about the practice of, most of you are familiar with the terms abhyasa and vairagya. Some people say, or some commentators on Yoga Sutras say, that those are the two birds of a yogi fly. Yeah, so it's two wings of a yogi, two wings of a bird, abhyasa and vairagya. So it's a balanced practice in this way. And if you're not familiar with abhyasa, it's defined as a practice repetition in practice. According to Mr. Yang, that it is the art of learning that which has to be learned through cultivation of disciplined action. Whereas vairagya is the renunciation, detachment, or dispassion. It is the art of avoiding which should be avoided. So we apply that to our practice. Well, the reason I mention is because, yes, most of our practice is going to be physical. We're going to get into technical things and movement. But for me, the physical practice of yoga is sort of an embodied philosophy of the Yoga Sutras. I think it distinguishes itself from exercise in this way, that there's a philosophical component to the physical asana practice. So if, for example, if you think the studying of the sutras and reading the literature, commentaries is the pure form of studying yoga philosophy, and by practicing abhyasa and vairagya, observing the subsequent quieting of the mind, quieting meaning the lessening of the fluctuations of the mind and being observant of that, which we do in then asana would be the applied. Philosophy is sort of the pure form. Asana is the applied form. So here we have a chance to see how we can have a dynamism in our practice, a way to have a sort of a rajas, reverency, and at the same time, not to be attached to the results of it. Being able to practice in a way where we have focus, concentration, dharana, dhyana, but at the same time, a kind of letting go, yeah? That we're not attached to the results. We do our best. Happens is what happens. And from that practice, the tools we get in physical practice, the sweat we have in the physical practice gives us a laboratory for the mental, physical connection, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual connection to build better awareness, like a witnessing presence. If you didn't get any of that, that's okay. But to just understand that the foundation of yoga is to cultivate a witnessing presence to quiet the fluctuations of the mind. Okay, I just like to share this because it's nice to have some foundation in our practice. Today's practice, we are focusing on some arm balancing. So for me, especially for asana series.
Zain, I still have some sound problems, but I'm not sure if it's just me or everybody.
Okay, so maybe can everyone who can hear me without sound problem, just give me thumbs up? Or are you having some issues?
It's about 5% is cuts out.
Okay.
Do you have original sound turned on?
Original sound. Yeah, turn on original sound. Yes. Is that good or not?
That would be good for you, I think.
Okay, how about now? Is it better?
Well, it cuts out while you're talking, so it's hard to tell. So that lecture was beautiful about abhyasa and vairagya. Maybe you should do it again and we'll see.
Well, I don't want it to be too, I don't think philosophy is boring, especially when there's an asana component. I studied a fair amount of philosophy when I went to college in Berkeley, but I felt I was like a book philosopher. I didn't have an embodied philosophy. So with the yoga, I found that the physical practice was an integration of philosophy in my bones, in my joints, in my gross body, so that I can create some awareness or tools to sharpen my awareness so that I can understand subtle body or something that's not maybe more tangible, which to me, subtle body doesn't have to be so esoteric. It could be just something as simple and pure as emotion. And emotion, it could be for me sometimes a mental feeling, but often it's a physical feeling. It has the word motion in there, right? So things that are in motion are generally physical. So for me, feelings, mentality is very much related to physicality. That's just my own, this is not anyone's commentary, this is my own perspective on yoga, that it's a physical practice and a mental practice, because for me, mental feelings are physical feelings. When you ask someone, how are you feeling? Well, you feel from touch, right? You touch something to feel. So often we ask, how are you feeling? Is like a physical experience in your mind. I hope that's not confusing. It's just the way I look at, I don't really have a distinction between sometimes physical and mental. For me, mental is physical is mental, and it sort of integrates itself into this concepts of abhyasa, this devotion, dedication, commitment into practice, and vairagya, this dispassion, renunciation, detachment from the results of practice. Was that still cutting out, or is it better?
It was better for me. How
Okay,
about everybody
thanks.
else?
Better? I think that original sound, Andy, helped because it wasn't on my AirPods. It was on my MacBook microphone. So here's the deal, friends. I set the timer for an hour and a half, and we're already down to 1 hour and 15 minutes. So if it's okay, we go over a few minutes because we had a little discussion. But again, if you need to leave on time, you leave whenever is good. But I will go a little bit over time. Forgive me in advance. Okay? So now we begin lying down supine position. Does everyone have a bolster or a couple blankets? We didn't mention this in the let's see here. We didn't mention this in the requirements, but I'll show you. We're not going to use it a whole lot, but if someone doesn't have a bolster prop, let me know. Okay? The idea will be the same, but if you do have a bolster, a couple blocks, just have those handy. Okay? And then we're going to lie down beginning in Supta Baddha Konasana, but with the feet on the bolster. So just a relaxed, comfortable position to get the pelvis, hips open, feet, ankles elevated on the bolster. So when I think of arm balancing and Parsva Bakasana especially, for me, the target areas of focus are wrist, hands, shoulders, and a fair amount of core too, actually. I consider Parsva Bakasana in the category of twisting asanas as much as arm balancing asanas. And of course, always nice to get hips open to move in and out of the arm balancing. So we're just passively resting the legs, letting the pelvis, the groins release, the pelvis open. You can take your arms overhead, Baddha Hasta, Urdhva Baddha Hasta. So just a little opening of the armpit chest, getting your lungs open, space to breathe freely. Switch the crossing of the arms. And just FYI, I'm wearing a wristband, a sweatband on my right ankle, right hand. So in case you need to just figure out what is my right side, left side, you can always just look at my arm and leg to figure out my right side and left side. All right, now hold the outer legs, bring the legs in, walk the feet apart to the edges of the mat and let the knees and thighs knock in. It's probably gonna feel pretty easy for most of us, a slight internal rotation of the legs. Take your arms out to the side. Then open up the knees like a wide Baddha Konasana. And then knees back to center. And now let the knees and thighs fall to the right side. You might have to walk the feet in so you can roll over onto the outer edge of one foot, the right foot, inner edge of the left foot. Then bring the legs up and over to the left side. So a little bit of movement of the feet, movement of the legs and hips. Do once more. So one leg is an external rotation, other leg internal. And then again. Great. And then come back to center. Keep the feet on the bolster, or you can take them off, your choice. Not a big deal for right now. Take your arms up and extend the hands so the fingers are facing you, fingernails facing you. And I want you to push up so you feel the arms get longer, the shoulders spread, and then pull back until the shoulders touch the ground. Okay. Push up with the hands, arms long, and then retract back. Next time, lifting your head up. So tuck your chin, push the air above you towards the ceiling of your house or home. So you're protracting the shoulder blades. Keep the head lifted, and now retract the shoulder blades. So arms become shorter. Protract, arms long. Retract, arms short. Go back and forth. And release, rest. Okay, so that'll be an important part in arm balancing, being able to pump, I'll call it pumping action of the shoulders like this. Okay. Now, let's do like this again. Go ahead and flex the hand so you just understand some terms anatomically. This is hand flexion, okay, and then hand extension. Okay, so most of the time we're usually doing hand extension, Adho Mukha Svanasana, Adho Mukha Vrikshasana, all the arm balancing. And then flexion, we hardly do in any poses. Okay? It's quite hard, but we'll give it exposure anyway. Just go back and forth, extending, flexing. Okay. Now, be in the extension position. If you need to shake out the hands, shake out the arms, because the arms are inverted, blood is coming down. If you need to shake out and get the blood moving, go ahead. Now lift the feet off the ground, bring the knees towards your upper arms, and again, push up. So this would be like a Supta Bakasana, and stay lifted with the head and shoulders, but retract the shoulders back towards the ground and then up off the ground. Back, up, down, up, release. Feet down, head down. Now, if you're not feeling comfortable raising your head up, of course, you can have a block behind your head. Okay, so that way you can still lift the head up, but it's just right there. So you don't feel so much neck pressure if the neck muscles aren't so strong to be lifted up for that long. All right, now let's do our first already, because my guarantee was that everyone can get into some version of Parsva Bakasana. So we'll just get right into it. Okay, so bring the knees in towards the arms. Okay, and now bring the knees to the side and lift your chest and head up. Try to get the arm to touch the leg that's close to you. Then come down, knees back to center, over to the opposite side, lift your chest and head up, bring the knee to the arm that's closer to you. And then release, feet down. And you can straighten the legs out and just have the legs straight, hovering or lifted. Point your toes, stretch the front of the foot, pull the toes, extend the heel, stretch the back of the leg. Point the toes, pull the foot back, point the toes, come back. All right. Now we'll go like this. So we'll do something. Let's see how I can best explain it from the side. So when the knees fall to the right side, let the right thigh fall all the way to the ground and bring the left leg around like a big semicircle, or a quarter circle, actually, I should say, to the side. Great. Then back to center, let the left thigh and knee touch the ground, so it's on the ground. Then swing the right leg. And it can be a fluid movement. If the hips move, waist, chest moves with the leg, all good. Now, over to the side, and now try not to, see if you can keep the knee lifted. So you press the outer edge of the foot, and then the arms on the ground, press down, and then allow for the swinging of the legs, but without letting the knee drop. You'll feel a little bit more abdominal turning. When the leg comes, press the arms into the ground and turn chest toward ceiling. One more time. And then switch, okay, opposite side. Knee is off the ground, thighs off the ground. You're pushing the foot into the bolster, pressing the arms into the floor, and creating a twist. When the leg comes around, turn your chest towards the ceiling. And come back to center. Great. Now, however you can, find the bolster into your hands. So some of you will be able to grab the bolster, thread the legs through, and catch the bolster like this, and others will just put it off to the side, grab it however you can, and catch the bolster like this. So you'll be lying down, knees bent, feet flat, a little wider than hips width, and holding the bolster to tolerate some load on the wrist. Should feel very easy here for most of us, the weight of the bolster. Now bend your elbows, bring the bolster towards your face, and then push straight in the arms. Should feel very easy. I'm sure you're feeling like, huh, what's the hard work here? Now, when the arms are straight, move the arms back like a few inches, just a few inches. Now bend your arms. It's getting harder. Okay? Careful not to drop the bolster over your face, okay? Move the arms further back. Okay? Slowly bend the arms. Keep the elbows slightly moving in, and then straighten the arms. Move the arms slightly further back, bend, bolster to the ground, and then straighten. Now put the bolster over your knees. Okay? Okay, tuck your chin, interlock your fingers, lift your shoulders off the ground, and any amount begin to extend the legs with the bolster over your shins. Then bend, bring the bolster in, rest the head, hold the bolster with your hands, keep the shins lifted, take the bolster away from you behind you, and see if the lower back is assisting to have the arm flexion here. Try to curl your tailbone off the ground so your mid back, lower back is touching the ground. Bring the bolster up, put it on the shins, and now see if you can use the support of the bolster. You may need to watch, it's all good, to come up into a modified version of Paripurna Navasana with the legs bent. Okay? Then hold the bolster, okay? Then come to Ardha Navasana, coming down like this, bolster either here or extended with the arms over. Bend the arms, place the bolster onto the shins, and then extend the legs. So using that weight of the bolster to lift yourself up. Then hold the bolster with your hands, either on the sides of the bolster, underneath the bolster, and then pump the bolster up. Shoulders are in elevation up to the ears. Bend the arms, shoulders depress down, and then lift. Bend, place the bolster over the knees, over the shins. Okay. Grab it, and then come down. If you can extend, arm back. If you need to touch the ground, all good with the feet. Okay. Otherwise, keep the legs lifted. One more time. Place the bolster over the shins. Use a rocking motion to bring yourself up with the assistance of the bolster prop. Hold it, and then see, some of you can straighten the legs and the arms. Bend, put the bolster over the shins. See if you can lower down like this. Take the arms overhead, then come up using the bolster weight, and then rest. Did you get all that? Whew, I'm already breaking a sweat. If you didn't get it, just know I'm treating this like a play shop. So you learn some material, have a childlike wonder and curiosity, things that are unfamiliar, just have fun with it and then play with it at your own time. And maybe you come up with something creative on your own, according to your body's needs, all right? All right, let's have more fun with the bolster prop. So we're adding a little bit of strength for the arm, some activation for the core. I find that a lot of arm balancing where there's core involved, for me, it's reflexive core. I can't instruct my body or command my body to now engage core, but I can train it in other positions or movements like we're doing. So that way, by the time I get into positions where core is required to stabilize, it's reflexively happening. I hope that makes sense, as opposed to consciously training upper six pack engage, lower six pack engage, something like wild like that. Okay, I don't have those such siddhis, those yogic powers. All right, now lie down. Okay, now let's do like this. Okay, so the bolster is here. Okay. Some of you may need to have a block to the side. Okay, because when we take the legs to the side, it's going to be a twist where you lift up, and if this is too much of a twist, you can have a block out to the side, so you can do this action, okay, without feeling like it's such a big twist where you can't lift or it feels not so good. Okay, So if you want to put a block on either side of the legs, so that way, and it's not required again. So if you want to try without, just go for it. So we got the bolster here, some weight in the arms, bend the knees in towards the arms, then knees to the side, let them fall all the way down or towards the block. And now bring yourself up and bring this arm against that knee. And just notice your arm. One arm is bent slightly and the other arm, the one that's away from the knees, is straight. Come back to center, over to the side, okay. Lift up. Okay. One arm is slightly bent, other arm is straight. Come down, one more time, push. Go ahead and bend both arms. Keep one arm bent, the one that's attached to the knee, and straighten the other arm. Come down, over, lift your neck and head, shoulders up, bend both arms. Keep the arm that's attached to the knee bent, and then begin to straighten the other arm. Come down, rest, bolster overhead. Baddha Konasana again, without any support, just rest in Supta Baddha Konasana. If you want to use the blocks, fine. Otherwise, just open, unsupported. Take a soft, long breath in, smooth, long exhalation out. All right, a little bit of core work, okay? And then we'll get off the ground. I just want to make sure I include everything. So there's versions of the pose where you move the legs to the side. Notice how my arms are staying stable. We could have used the bolster here, okay? And there's going to be times where the knees are in position and we bring the arms to the side. So go ahead and do like this. You can even join the palms. Sorry, my camera got blurry there. There we go. Okay, so just check to see the difference between, okay, so we have first arms are stable. We're moving legs to the side, lifting up like this, okay? Then keep the legs in position and move the arm to the side and lift up. So this time when you come to the side, you can bend your arms like this. Use the arm against the knee action to create a twist, a turning action, a parivrita action. Then detach the hands and straighten the arm that's not touching the leg. Come back to center. Okay. Go to the side, catch the arm against the knee, join the palms like namaste, namaskar hands. Then detach the hands like you want to attach them onto the wall. The arm that's not touching the leg, the one that's closer to the ground, straighten that out. And release. Rest in any position. It can be Supta Baddha Konasana, Shavasana, or whatever position you like to rest. All right, so I'll have a little bit more bolster fun that I don't want to leave out. If you're feeling the floor core work is a little too much, then just take pauses so you don't feel overworked. Okay, but the next one's super fun, so let's see how it goes. All right, just be mindful of how my bolster's got its cotton coming out here. All right, so you're gonna bend the knees into the chest. Okay. Take the knees to the side, let the right knee drop down, right thigh drop down, and extend the left leg out at a diagonal, okay? Then lift your neck and head up. Any amount you can take the arms back, do so. Tuck your tailbone in. The shin that's into the ground, press it down, okay? And then bend the top leg, arms against the knee, and then go back. The leg is on the ground. Go back and forth like this, and then we'll switch, okay? Opposite side. So bend the legs in, over to the side, left leg is down, right leg is extending, but it's not straight, it's at a diagonal. Lift your neck and head up. Take the arms overhead. Bend the arm and leg against each other, and then detach away from each other. Extend, bend, and join, and then detach, and then come back to center. If you're feeling this in your neck a little bit, that's a sign of strengthening the neck, but don't overdo it. I call these neck abs, where you're working the core, but all the way up to the sides of the neck. It's been very helpful for me to get out of the sensitivity around my neck that continually was getting whether injured or affected in a way where I always just feel like I need a massage or some kind of fixing, some kind of traction. But when you do this head lifting work and just circle the neck and head around, that's a lot of strength in the neck to be able to move a 14-pound, 13-pound head, okay? So just something to consider, neck abs. All right, we're gonna do the same thing again, but instead of the bottom leg lifted, some of you'll be able to, bottom leg on the ground, some of you'll be able to have the leg off the ground. This will be the position, and then the bolsters overhead, okay? Then you bring legs up like this, and then extend. So let's try it with the bolster as an option. If it's too much, you can let go of the bolster. So legs to the side, okay? Then see, can you let the legs extend without dropping the leg? And then arm overhead. So it's a side twisted extension here, okay? Then bend the knees in, go to the side. As you extend the leg at a diagonal, tailbone in, lift your neck and head up. So it's like you're almost about to roll to the side, but you don't. Come back to center. Okay? When you extend, stay extended. Now bend and see, can you get arm against knee without the knee dropping to the ground? If you need to have it down, fine. Otherwise, lift it up. You can even make this a movement. Okay? Then extend. See if you can roll on your back and go to the other side. Woo. Bend. Extend. Bend. Extend. And come back to center. Put the bolster over your belly. Relax in some kind of shavasana. Take a big breath in, big breath out. All right. We're done with the bolster for now. Okay, a little bit of wrist work. Okay, so you can have knees bent, feet flat. Take your arms up. Okay, curl your fingers, drop your knuckles down, pull the knuckles down towards your ribs, and pull kind of hard. So you're getting a stretch on the hairy side of your forearm. Okay. Then turn your arms, open your hands, fingers pointing away, and fingernails pulling down. So you're getting a stretch on the underside of the arm. Curl your fingers, knuckles towards your face, pull hard, and turn your arms, open up the hands, fingernails pulling down, heels of the hand pushing up. Keep the hands like this, bring the hands down, wrists down to the ground. Keep your fingernails pulling back. Then go up, put the hands in flexion, bring the backs of the arms, wrists towards the ground. Up, extend, lower down, extended. Then lift up, flex, move back in the flex position. Okay, one more time. Up and back and release. Now for our ankles, go ahead and grab one leg in and hold any part of the shin where you can feel that the shin bone is not going to turn as you turn your foot and ankle in a slow, smooth, controlled circle. So you're articulating at the ankle joint, okay? And then reverse the direction. Notice if the shin is turning, try to make the circle smaller. So it's just true articulation at ankle as opposed to shin and ankle. And release. Switch. So any part of shin you can grab, low shin, mid shin. Point the toes, move the foot in, circle it around. So if you look at me here, if I don't hold the shin, I can make a very big ankle circle because the shin, knee, and thigh are moving. And then when I catch at the shin, I make a slow, controlled, and quite smaller circle, kind of humbling, the limitation of the ankle without the shin. But at least we're nourishing and articulating the ankle by itself as opposed to always coupled with other joints, above or below. And release. All right, now a little bit of brain game. Raise the shins off the ground, parallel to the ground. Flex your feet towards your shins. Point the toes. Flex the feet. Point the toes. And now do opposite. So one foot flexes, other extends. Point like this. And now see if you can lower the legs down to the ground like you're walking to the floor, taking steps, and go opposite, come up. So go slowly, opposite, 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 and rest. Let's include the hands and feet. So it's just brain game. There's no right or wrong here. So you're going to extend the hand, flex the feet, then point the toes, point the fingers. Go back, go forth, go back, go forth. Now do the opposite. So toes point in, fingers turn towards the knees, then fingers away, toes away. Notice when the brain glitches. That's the fun part. Now, can you detach legs and arms away from each other, doing this opposite, opposite, towards the ground, behind you and below you. Whew. Good stimulation for the wrist joint and ankle joint without putting load on it. Now we're going to put some weight on it. So cross the ankles, hold your shins, rock and roll on your spine a few times until you can come forward. So you can use your hands, push, come forward over the shins, onto the knees, hands and knees position, tabletop position. Chaturangasana, tabletop position. Press your hands and round your back as much as you can. So push the hands into the ground and dome your spine. Tuck your chin and flex your spine. Then do the opposite. Arch your back. So let the chest come through, ribs come through, arching in the back, tailbone out, chin up. Then opposite, push, tuck the chin in, tuck the tailbone under, round your back, and then arch your back. Then come back to center position. Curl your fingers, make fists, knuckles are facing forward, and do a few shoulder shrugs, similar to what we're doing on the ground, remember? When I was asking you to make the arms longer, okay, when the shoulders are protracted, and make the arms shorter, shoulders are retracted. Do that back and forth. And then try it with the hands turned out, so knuckles are facing out. Okay. Great. And then come up and sit in any version of, if you can sit like this, Vajrasana, fine. Okay, if you can sit like this, all good. We're gonna articulate at the, sorry, I don't know why the camera keeps getting blurry. Not sure, okay. It's hard for me to tell because I also took my glasses off, so I thought that was just my view. So anyway, we're gonna articulate at the scapula. So for my focus of the arm balancing, wrists and a lot of shoulder work. So shoulder and wrist work is key component in arm balancing. Of course, every part is involved, but we're going to focus on the arms, shoulders, and wrists. So if you can sit like this, tolerate this for the toes, great. If you need to sit on a block, all good. Take your arms forward, curl your fingers, turn the arms out so the knuckles are out. And now move at your scapula, that's your shoulder blade. Raise your shoulder blades up and pull your arm bones back. Move your shoulder blades down and move the arm bones forward. Up, back, down, forward. Notice when the arms bend, see if you can keep the arms straight. Notice when the hands are moving up and down more than the shoulders. Try to keep the hands just moving forward and back. Then reverse direction, so back, up, forward, down. And the reason we're making a fist is you can generate more force through the arm making a fist. You can try with the hands open, okay? Just notice how that feels. And then make a fist and squeeze that fist. And just notice the force you can generate through the body by the clenching of the hands and fists. All right, now let's try that in the tabletop position. So can you figure out that movement of elevation, protraction, depression, retraction? Just to clarify, okay, so I don't know if you can see my shoulders. Yeah, so elevation, then protraction, depression, retraction. So can you create that when the hands are locked to the ground? Okay, so here we go. Let's try it. So first, push the ground away. The arm gets long, shoulders are spread. Then move your shoulders up to your ears. Keep them by your ears. Move your chest towards the ground. Arms get short. Then move your shoulders away from the ears. Push the ground away. Spread your shoulders. Shoulders up to ears. Chest down. Shoulders away from ears. And then try not to pause in those positions as you articulate at the scapula without bending in the wrists. And also notice if you're bending in the spine, like if you're doing this in your lumbar or lower back somehow. Switch direction. Okay. If you want to make it very interesting, more somatic feedback or just tactile feedback, you could put a block if you're very mobile in your lumbar spine and you want to learn to control parts of the spine, then you could put a block there and just notice if the block is moving a lot, try to limit that and move as much as you can at the scapula, shoulder blades. All right, good job, everyone. Let's be done with that. A little bit more wrist work, so be mindful of this. If you want to put a blanket down, it's all good, but flip one of the hands so the back of the hand is on the ground. This in itself is quite a stretch. If you don't feel much, move your hips back. Okay, so it's a big stretch for the forearm extensors. Okay. Then switch, opposite back of the hand. Okay, so I'm on the back of the hand. That in itself is actually quite challenging, just one hand down like this. Some people can do push-ups like this. Can you believe it? Well, with practice, anything is possible. Okay, slow, controlled exposure to the body without pushing yourself to the point of pain or injury ever. Anything can be achieved, so as long as it's in your capacity. Now repeat, okay, or both hands, okay, if that feels okay, both hands, moving your hips back, just holding this position is a big stretch. Then come up. Turn the hands back, one hand back. Okay. If you don't feel a stretch in the forearm flexors now, okay, you can move back any amount. If you have a little bit of a hypermobility in the elbows, consider bending the elbow. Yes, good. And then come up, then turn the other hand back. Okay, so if I go into my hypermobility, I can go quite far back. Ooh, that looks weird. Not that anything's wrong with that. It's just I'm not getting the stretch in the forearm flexors. Okay, so I don't want it to be that the compensation or hypermobility is something bad or wrong. It's just a different experience in some bodies. So in my body, I'm going to micro bend the elbow. Then I reach back and I start to get a stretch here. Now, if you have any pain on the underside of the arm, you want to back off from that pain. The reason I'm showing this and teaching this like this is because this position, okay, you can come like this and go forward. This position right here, I would say, is the crux of the arm balancing. Shoulders past the wrist and being able to protract and retract like this with arm extension. You see how far forward I'm going without dropping my head down? Okay. Not only is that the crux meaning in English like the focal point or the focus, like the real sort of, I'm a vegetarian, but I still use this analogy, the meat and potatoes of the arm balancing. But you also have to learn to love it. Like it gives you oxygen and fuel to do more, as opposed to the opposite, which would be like, I think it doesn't feel good, I want to back off, which is a really good sign and you should back off. But once you can tolerate this load and you learn to love it, okay, you can do it with the knees bent, try with the legs straight. First, the shoulder movements, the reverse direction. Here, especially check to see if the lumbar begins to sag. See if you can draw the ribs in slightly. Keep the core firm or the abdominal waistband sort of embraced, sort of say. By embraced, I think that's an incorrect word. I mean, brace yourself. So how do I mean this? If someone's throwing a ball at you or just something's coming at you, you would brace yourself. So that's what I mean is you brace yourself in a way where if someone was to the side and they push you, you catch this reflexively sort of action to catch or brace yourself. I might have said the word embrace yourself. You can also embrace yourself. Accept yourself and embrace all of you in every shape and form. All right, what's next? Okay, so in the plank position, okay, see if you can go past the wrist. And if that's a lot, come down onto one knee. Just take one leg down. The hips may seem slightly even. You can try to square them, all good. Okay, if you can do on both, go forward and back. Okay, and you can't see this, right? And especially in, physical live classes, it's hard to sometimes zoom in and see what the teacher's doing. But in the Zoom class, I'd like for you to be able to see that my hands are not flat when I go forward. They're actually curled. The fingers actually curled a little bit, quite a bit sometimes. In my Adho Mukha Vrikshasana, in the middle of the room, not always at the wall. And Bakasana, I go like this. So you can, in fact, try it with the blocks. You'll just, anytime you can vary up the foundation of the base of where the hands are, the better. You just add variability to hands, the proprioceptors on the hands, what feels the grip. So now hold the blocks comfortably and go forward, but curl the fingers slightly and push off the fingers as you go back. Come forward any amount, shoulders beyond wrists. You can look forward, you can look down, any which way. Then try with the legs straight, either one leg or planked, and then go forward any amount you can tolerate this. Shoulders away from ears. Okay? Shoulders past the wrist. Any amount. Maybe you can raise one leg up, point the toes back. Raise the other leg up, point the toes back, and release. Whew. Okay. Now, do like this. Interlock your fingers, palms away, knuckles away, arms up. So Urdhva Baddha but with the knuckles facing up, as opposed to like this way. Raise your shoulders up to your ears, full elevation of the shoulders. Then release. Switch the interlock, opposite interlock, palms away, and then knuckles away, arms up, shoulders up to the ears, elevation of the shoulders. Release. All right, more wrist work coming. Okay, so we're learning to expose right now. And of course, in a class, it's not possible to just get it all and magically make it happen. It's, material you learn to practice, integrate it into your practice, and see how you can use it in your practice for the advanced poses. But some of the basic training for the hands to get exposed to load. Now we're going to lift the knees off the ground. So push the hands down, okay? Lift the knees off the ground so you feel more load in the wrists. Then go forward slightly. Come back. Maybe you can even do almost like a malasana, like you're about to jump forward. Then come forward beyond the wrists. Come back. You're about to take a jump to Uttanasana. Then go forward beyond the wrists and then come down. Anytime you need to take a pause, do a counter wrist stretch, shake out the hands. If it's too much, just time out and watch. You can circle the wrists around. Okay. Now see if you can shift the weight into one hand. Okay, so one hand is behind me. Now again, I'm going to try these shoulder shrugs, pressing, spreading, retracting, pulling. Okay. Then switch. So hand is kind of underneath the face. You could have it here. That's also great. You could have it everywhere. In fact, it's not like one position is fixed and that's what we're doing. It's just for the sake of time, I'm just keeping it simple, hand underneath the shoulder. But in my own practice, and I would encourage you to vary up where the hand goes. Okay, so all kinds of different positions for the hand. Now, some of you can try this. Okay, be mindful. It's a lot of load. Okay, to lift. Okay, knees off the ground. Okay, release. So you can keep the knees down. Continue like this. You can angle different positions, or slight reflexive core is engaged. Knees lift and shoulder shrugs. And release. All right, so enough of that for now. You could also do it in plank if you want to make it harder. So you could try like this, okay? So one arm forward, my legs are wide, so it's almost wider than the mat if you want. And then see, can you put the hand behind your back and then do a few shoulder shrugs like this. If it's too much for the wrists, then come down to the knees, okay? Otherwise, see if you can straighten the legs and then do a shoulder shrug. One arm is obviously weaker or tighter sometimes. So just noticing the difference, learning from one to the other, and also seeing the behavior of one to the other in terms of position and movement. Now let's come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So take the position of your choice in terms of hands shoulder width, if not wider, feet wide. I'm choosing wide as the mat position here. Hold dog pose comfortably. If that means you're going to straighten your legs fully, great. If you're not going to straighten the legs, also great. Any which way, get into the legs. Move your hips up and back, chest back, head down. All right, then join the legs together. Okay, we're going to do a hip circle. So bend the right knee in towards your chest. Move the knee back, up, out to the side, forward, and repeat. So hip circle. Try not to bend your arms. Try not to turn your chest right now. We will do that in a little bit. Okay, and then reverse the direction. So knee to chest, knee out. Inner rotate the thigh. Foot up, shin up, then behind. So there's a little bit of internal rotation. When you take the knee out to the side, pause. You can look at the knee, keep it from dropping, and roll the thigh to face the floor, foot up towards the ceiling, then back, foot down, bend the knees, come up, take a pause, take the arms back, inflection with the hands, arms up, extension of the hands, and then we'll repeat. So just to clarify that the knee circle can be done on the ground. It doesn't have to be in dog pose. When you take it reverse direction, see if you can focus on this internal rotation as you bring it around. Okay, just see if you can articulate that part as well. Let's go to the other side. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Join your feet together. Then bend the left knee. Move the knee back, out to the side, around, without turning in your waist and chest, without bending in the arms. When you do the reverse direction, okay, knee out to the side, then inner rotate the thigh. Roll in, knee and thigh back, forward, out, without bending in the arms. Rotate the thigh, behind and down. Come down onto the knees, however you can rest. If you want to rest in this version of Vajrasana where the feet are tucked in, you can do like this. Okay. Take the arms forward, roll the arms in, interlock the fingers like this. So I'm showing the feet. You can sit like this. Sometimes just leaning back, this can be very good for the ankle. So as long as your bones of the feet and ankle say yes. If not, you can take some padding with a blanket or just sit in any version of knee spread Vajrasana. Take the arms in, fingers interlock like such. Then bend your elbows. Get a little stretch for the forearm there. The top of the wrist side. And then see if you can bring the hand around, up. And you don't have to fully open, but you get a stretch for the pinky side of the forearm wrist. Around this, bend, open up. Okay. Then release, switch. So opposite hand in front. First just bending, extending, bending, slight turn, move back, bend, slight turn, open up, and release. All right, now we'll do the hip circle again, but this one's a little bit more free form, meaning you can move your hips, move your waist, move your chest, and even bend one arm. Okay, so one arm I can bend and rest the head against that arm. Okay, so go ahead and make big hip circles, loose and fluid. You can turn the hip, turn the waist and chest. You can hold in this position where you're up in space and the leg is out. Extend the leg, bend the leg, extend the leg, bend the leg. And this time as you rotate to face the floor, bring the right foot forward. So right foot forward, back toes tucked under, come into this kneeling lunge position. If you need to take some padding, you can have a blanket for the knee, all good. You might appreciate that, or the knee might appreciate that. Then flip on top of the foot, walk your right foot forward in any amount, come forward so you get a stretch on the hip flexors of the back leg. Reach the hands to the ground. If you can't reach there, you can use blocks. So the blocks can be here. And then press the top of the foot, straighten the back leg, bend and lower, press and straighten. And tuck the toes under, come upright. We're going to do a circle with the left arm. Okay. I'm sorry, circle with the right arm. So left hand, you're going to either hold thigh, knee, any which way you can lock yourself to face forward. Then take the right arm forward like a handshake, turn your palm up, arm up past the ear without turning your chest, turn your arm bone. Rotate the arm, so by the time you lower it beside your hip, it's inner rotated. So bicep in, tricep out. Inner rotated arm goes back until it can't, then spin your arm bone out without turning your chest. Turn the arm up, forward. Okay. One more time. Okay. So you can lean slightly forward. It makes it harder. Up, out, back, behind. Hold the knee against the hand so you don't turn your chest. Take the arm around, forward, down. Straighten your back leg. Bend the knee to chest. Move back to Ekapada, Adho Mukha, and then Ekapada is one-legged. All right, let's do the hip circles on the other side. Bend the left knee, circle the hip around, and you can move the rest of the body. So it's more of a global movement. Circle the other way. If you want to bend the arm to rest your head, hold the position. The right arm I'm bending slightly, holding my head against the arm. The leg that's in space, straightening out, bending, extending, bending. Now turn to face the floor. Swing the left foot forward. Lower the back knee down. Come upright. You can move the left foot slightly forward. Flip on top of the back foot. Press that foot shin down and lean slightly forward. Bring yourself forward. Hands onto the ground or blocks. And then push off the top of the foot and straighten the back leg. Bend the leg. I'm preferring using the blocks. That way I can get more hip extension. This. Then tuck the toes, come up. Right hand comes around the left knee, thigh, or you can even hold your waist. The idea is to not turn your waist and chest as you take the arm, left arm to an arc, up, over, rotate out, behind you. So by the time the arm comes beside you, it's inner rotated, bicep in, tricep out. Take that inner rotated arm back, spin the arm to external rotation, arm up, arm forward, arm down. Come slightly forward. Bring the arm up, arm out, arm back, behind. Now slow movement, 1 kilometer per hour speed. Turn the arm without turning your chest or head. Whew. And release. Straighten the back leg. Come through Ekapada, Adho Mukha, and then Adho Mukha. So hold the bricks securely, so make sure they're not going to slip or slide. Come forward to plank, Adho Mukha Dandasana. Then Urdhva Mukha, you can be on tops of the feet. Now do the shoulder movement. Shoulders back, shoulders down, chest lifted. You can do it a couple of times. So go through that shoulder elevation, protraction, retraction, depression movement, and then hold Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Tuck the toes under. Come up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let's do a chaturanga in there. You can modify chaturanga on the knees. Okay, all good. If you want to do straight leg chaturanga, great. On the knees, bend your elbows, bring the pelvis down first, abdomen, ribs, chest, chin. Then go back, push, chin up off the ground, ribs, belly, then pelvis, then knees, coming to downward dog. Now let's do like this. Go side to side on your feet. So you're going on to the outer edge of one foot, inner edge of the other foot, side to side. Try it in a plank. Come forward to plank. Go side. You can even let the hip come down slightly. Push up. Go to side. Let the hip come down slightly. Push up. One more time. So you're pushing off the hands, lifting the hip up. Roll on the inner edge foot, outer edge foot. Push. Come up. Okay. Lower the knees down. Sit on your heels. So each time taking a little bit of a break for the wrists. Arms forward. Curl the fingers. Drop the knuckles down. Rotate the arms out, open up the hands, fingers open, fingers pulling back. Curl your fingers, knuckles to your face, squeeze. Rotate in, open up the hands, arms out to the side, pushing the sides of the room away with the heels of the hand, but pull your fingernails back towards your face. Curl your fingers, drop your knuckles down, pull the knuckles in towards your ribs. Rotate the arms out, open up the hands, pulling the fingernails back. Roll the fingers. Rotate in, open up the hands, arms forward, fingers down, arms up, forward, fingers up, arms down. So switch. It feels like Karate Kid. I think he went out to the side, yeah? You can also do to the side. The wings of the bird, getting ready to fly. We are getting there. And release. But just the component parts, the prep, that's the fun part for me. The achievement of the pose or the doing of the pose, the goal, not so important, but the journey, the little bits and pieces, all the parts that make the whole, that's the fun part, yeah, at least for me. So next we'll do a twisting position in plank. So one knee bends into chest, you come forward, so one-legged plank, knee to same arm, then rotate, knee to opposite arm. Notice how I land on the inner foot, sole of the foot. Rotate back, come back, extend the leg, ekapada, lower the foot, leg down. You can also make the distance between hands and feet a little bit shorter if you like. See if that helps you. Bend the left knee to chest, come forward, knee to same arm, rotate, land on that outer sole of the foot, knee to opposite arm, rotate back, come back, ekapada, come down. Now, come forward, drop the knees down and turn, land both knees on the ground, like a loose Bharadvajasana. You can remove the blocks for this and see, can you do this twisting push-up, this chaturanga with the legs bent. Okay. So bending, coming down with the arms, then lifting, away from it. Bend the arms, come down, turn the chest to the floor, push, lift up, then untwist, back to plank, come forward, retwist, so hip down, knee down, then bending. So notice how the collarbone is not even here. That's normal, that's okay. That the collarbone is not squared. See if you can turn your chest towards the ground. Come up. Now, if you need to take a pause, because you're not used to maybe doing so much of the push-up work, take a rest. Next one's even a little bit harder because it's the same thing, okay? But then see, okay, can you keep one leg off the ground, one leg, the knee is down of the left leg, other leg can be lifted or on the ground, and then bend, lower down, extend, lift up. Bend, push, lift, come back to the plank. Option to do this, and you don't have to go all the way to the ground. I should have made it more progressive, that you could just do this much. If you do 10 of these, better than maybe one where you can't go all the way to the ground. Okay. Some of you can lift, hip up, okay, opposite leg up, and then bend, come down, push, lift, press, lift, untwist, downward dog. And we haven't come upright, so go ahead and jump over your blanket if you're using one. Uttanasana. Bend the knees, arms back. Utkatasana with the arms back. Then push with the feet off the floor. Push the feet down into the ground. Swing with the arms come up. Urdhva Hastasana. Join the palms. Namaskarasana. All right, let's try Utkatasana and Parsva Utkatasana. So first, arms up. Lift your heels up and bend your knees. So Utkatasana with heels lifted. Then keep the heels up, straighten the legs, come upright, lower the arms, lower the heels down. Now try it with the feet a little bit closer together. Okay? If that feels okay. You could try it with the legs wide, heels up, bend the knees, join palms, and then turn. So I'm turning towards my right. If you want to mirror me, it's all good. Press into the hand, turn your chest. Come back to center, keep the heels up, swing with the arms up, lower the arms, heels down. If it's hard to lift the heels up, you can roll a blanket like this. So that way you still have this feeling of dorsiflexion. Knees can be together or separated. Come into your Utkatasana, then Parsva. With the knees together, it's a different twisting feeling. With the knees, feet apart, it's a different feeling. Come back to center, swing with the arms, come up, lower the arms, lower the feet down. Okay? So let's continue. So you can put the blanket off to the side, come to the top of the mat, Urdhva Namaskar, join the palms, look up, then Uttanasana to the ground, to the floor, bend the knees, step, jump, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bring the right foot forward. You can raise the right leg up, bend the knee, right foot forward, lower the back knee down. I know I took the blanket away. Oh well, you can still use the blanket. Come upright. Now, Paririta, Parsva Bakasana prep. So take your left arm up, take an inhale, exhale. Do that again. So inhale, big exhale, you can make a sound. Bring the waist around over the thigh, arm against knee, join the palms, press to turn the chest, and keep the chest turned. Detach the hands like you're on a wall trying to pull down, and then see the arm that's away from the legs, can you straighten? And this one slightly more so. Okay? Then join, open, and try to straighten this arm as you turn. Release. Now how about straightening the back leg? Lift the knee off the ground. Now can you take the arms away like this, turning your chest, join the palms, lower the knee. If that's hard to twist, which it is for a lot of us, including myself, you can support a block. This feels really nice, right? So you can do like this, pressing, pushing. You can do like this, extending. The block helps quite a bit, okay? So you can try with the block. Let's go to the other side. You can hop switch. Do the hop switch. Can you do it on your fingertips? End up on your left side. Back knee is bent. Come upright. So while the knee is bent, see if you can think about that back foot trying to actually pull forward. So you're not just resting the foot, but trying to pull the knee and foot forward. That front foot trying to pull slightly back. Right arm up. Inhale. Exhale. Arm against knee and thigh. Inhale. Come up. Again, exhale. Try to get as much of the upper arm against the knee and thigh. You can use prop against the upper arm. Join your palms. Okay, I'm going to show from the front. So that way when you're twisting, okay, detach the hand, And the one that's not towards the leg, straighten that out. Bring it in. The one that is attached to the leg, that's slightly straightened, but it stays bent to stay attached to the leg. Come back. And see, can you straighten your back leg? And this time detach the arms, just straighten them out. Bend, join, twist, open. Come back. Release down, move back. Ekapada, one-legged dog. Then downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, so spread the fingers of the hands, press your palms down, move your legs back, chest and head back. All right, then come down onto the knees. Now we will get our yoga chair. Okay, so yoga chair, and for some of you, maybe an additional mat is needed. Let's see. Okay, first I'll show you the movement. For me, I don't think I need a mat. Well, one on the ground. So you ask yourself if you need a mat on the ground. I'm going to put a blanket on top of this chair, and the chair is to my right side. Okay. If you want to mirror me, it's all good. We're going to do both sides. You can put a blanket any which way you like. That's going to be for the thigh. So let me just show you what we're getting into. So we're going to be on one forearm, and I'm on my left forearm. If it becomes tricky, we'll use blocks. Okay. So first, just getting ourselves situated under the chair, over the chair. Okay, like this, and being able to push with that shin and inner knee. Arm that's on the ground, press, and see if you can lift. Bottom hip up, foot still on the ground. You can have arm open, but I like the fist, that way I can generate more force. Then down, shoulder comes up, hip comes down. Push, lift up, and see, can you lift the foot up? Take one arm up. Arm down, foot down, knee down. If that's very hard and challenging, which it might as well be, you can use something like this, something like this. So that way it's less for that arm and elbow. Okay. Now some of you can be here. Okay. Extend the leg in front. Arm up. When the leg bends, can you send it through? Careful. Through the chair. Turn. Face the floor. Then come back. Extend. Come in. Extend the leg and turn to face the ground. Come up. Lift up. And then come down. Rest. Same side. We're going to do one more. And we'll switch sides. If you're wondering where the heck is this coming from, we can thank our friend Carrier Worko, yeah, the chair queen, yeah, real fun stuff on her playground platform. So some of these poses and movements certainly inspired and influenced by Carrier Worko's playground. So before we took the leg this way, now, okay, it goes forward, and see if you can take it back behind you. Take the arm across, tailbone slightly in, ribs in. Then come in, extend up, come in and extend out, reaching away. Come back, release, come down, come off the chair, move yourself around or turn the chair opposite side. If something is unclear, that's okay. It's new material. It's okay to be slightly confused. In fact, that's when you're really paying attention, when you're kind of confused. So first, just getting yourself, I'm on my right side now. You could be on your left, mirroring me, all good. Calf, knee into the chair, pressing off the arm, stage one. And knee lifts, okay, see if you can lift the hip up, stage two. Then see if you can press with this forearm down, lift the knee in towards the chest, arm up, leg out in front, bend, and see carefully without hitting that crossbar. Leg goes through, turn your body, rotation, come back, extension, come through, rotation, and release. If you feel this blanket is sliding a lot, that's where the mat would go on top of the chair, so the leg doesn't slide so much. Up to you how you want to support that. One more time we do. And this time we go out at a diagonal. So pushing up, right? First extending, Then behind you and across. Come in, extend, push off that elbow on the ground, forearm on the ground, and reach at a diagonal. One more time for good measure. And release. Woo. And then carefully come off the chair. All right, next position is the position of our focus, is the Parsva Bakasana, done in a creative, interesting way. And of course, we'll have a chance to do the clean version of the pose, clean meaning prop-free and unsupported. But I find the support, it's not easier, it's actually just as difficult. It just builds the endurance needed to hold the pose prop-free. So just to clarify, when we use the props, at least in this manner, it doesn't make the pose necessarily easier. Some of you may find it actually harder. So let's see what happens. If you have, you can remove this off the chair seat. If you want to have another mat on the chair seat, great. If not, no big deal. Just be careful when the feet come onto the chair seat. Then, an option to have a bolster here. We're going to climb up onto the chair. I'll show you. Why don't I do my right side just to even things out? So chair is on my right side, bolster is here. Then I've got 2 blocks over here. Okay? So the distance from the chair to the blocks will vary on everyone. Mine's about fingertips to elbow here, like forearm distance away. But that could change. It could be closer, it could be further. Just watch what I do first, okay? So first I'm in this Uttanasana position. Then knee bent, heel lifted, Malasana position, like I'm coming into Malasana with the heels up. Then I twist to the side, walk the foot up onto the bolster, get this arm to bend. So this should feel comfortable and fun. Like you could sing your favorite song here. Then see, one foot onto chair, arm is hooked to knee, other foot onto chair. And you should be able to sing a song, twist and shout. Okay, then walk feet down, come back, okay, untwist, walk back. Now I was doing all that looking at you so I could see what you see. You will want to look where the chair is. We'll do the same side again, but you want to be able to see where your feet are going. Okay? So you look at the feet, bend, do a twist. You can even just work on this, okay? Twisting, twisting. So I am moving on the balls of my feet. It's like a dance, right? Channel your inner James Brown or John Travolta, whoever, or whoever else you like to imagine dancing with the feet like that. Then watch your feet. Okay, so this arm hooked well in. If you want to do it without the blocks, hands on the ground, all good. Walk one foot up, other foot up. This in itself, okay, is the pose, the movement in the pose, that rotational element. Otherwise, foot up, other foot up. And again, lift your hips way up. One arm is straight, other arm is bent. Parsva Bakasana. Walk down. You can jump off and go ahead and face the chair and then just come up this way. Okay. Now all of that on the other side. So I'm just going to pick up my chair. You don't have to have the bolster to climb on. I'm skipping a few things for the other side, but if you want to do exactly as we did on the first side in stages, you can do that. But if you want to skip this step, just go to the chair. That's an option. For the sake of our time, just for the class, I'm going to skip it. It's possible you could start like this, go to the side. Okay. It's also possible you could start like this, lift the heels and pivot, getting this arm purchased against the outer knee and thigh. Okay. Then, now we don't have that bolster, that mini step. Maybe you're wanting it back. Go ahead and put it there so you can climb on the bolster if you're not able to climb on the chair immediately. This part, elbow against knee, hooked, other foot on, and then joining the feet So the arm that's to the knees is bent, other arm is straight. And move your hip up and over. This rotational element, big part of the pose. And then walk the feet down, down, turn to face the chair, come up. We'll repeat. So again, if that was very challenging, okay, have the bolster. Okay. This time, challenging meaning just to get up onto the chair. The whole thing is pretty challenging, right? The whole thing is actually pretty hard to do. Wrist extension, collarbone is uneven, twisting, lifting the hips up. It's all a fun challenge, yeah? But now some of you can balance off the chair. Okay, I'll show you, but this rotational element, this being able to move like this, or being able to get your hip to swing around will create that lift. The shoulders over wrist position will hold that resistance for balance so you don't flip over or fall over. So if you want to watch, you can. I'll show the same. So this time I'm choosing to start from this heel lifted version of Malasana. Before we were doing this Uttanasana version, then walking away. This time I'm starting like this, bringing the arm over, hand over, against knee and thigh, then twisting, walking the feet, twisting, lifting the feet up more, and then seeing, I might have to move the blocks in slightly. Can I twist, lift into the arms, feet off the ground, off the chair. Coming back, coming down, jumping off or stepping off. Now keep in mind, when I notice myself out here, I do have a wide angle camera. So if I look like a little bit skewed in the view, it's a wide angle of the camera. Okay, let's continue with more fun ways to use the chair, Parsva Bakasana. Don't need the bolster for this one. I'm going to show I'll show my right side. I'm putting the chair, but it's going to be slightly angled like this. Okay, so the blocks are parallel to the mat, but the chair is slightly angled. Okay. When I sit on the chair, on the edge of the chair, okay, my right arm comes up, right hand comes down. Left arm comes up, left hand comes down. My heels lift. My feet are not flat, my heels are up. Some of you can do this on the ground, okay? That's a big reach, even with long arms. So use blocks, any height. Be careful with the second height that the blocks don't tip. I'm gonna keep them flat height. And then see, can I lift the feet up and create that twisting feeling? If that's the case, some of you can use that momentum, bring the pelvis hipped around, locking arm against knee, pushing off the straight hand arm, and launching into space. So I like to start with an inhale, heels up, exhale, hand down, arm against knee, then coming into this position, and I have to pump off the hands, pushing up off the chair. One arm is straight, one arm is bent. Then landing down, hips on the chair, feet on the ground. Circle around. You could bring the blocks to the other side, adjust the chair, or just lift yourself up, bring the chair around. So one option is to keep the chair parallel and then move the blocks kind of at an angle. So that's, again, the same deal. Or you can have the chair slightly turned. I hope that makes sense, yeah? And then the blocks stay parallel to the mat. So that way you just have this edge of the chair to swivel off. Swivel means to kind of turn, yeah? All right, so here we go. Remember the heel part, okay? So the heels lift. Left arm up, down to the block, okay? Right arm up, you can look to the arm. Exhale, like Parsva Bakasana. Big sound. Inhale, look to the arm. Exhale, and move that block back. Get that arm against the knee. Upper arm against outer knee. Then see, can you lean to the side, lift the feet up, okay, come back, lean, push, pump, okay, and come down, Swing with the arms, come up. Take a breather. Okay, if you need to just do a little bit of a arm extension behind you, interlock fingers, you can do so. We're going to repeat, and some of you take flight. Now, the flight part is tricky because once you're already situated on the chair, it's hard to get the buttocks off. But if you think about swinging your hips around, pumping with the hands, see if you can, almost like you want to, I'll explain, almost like you want to come up and push yourself like in this way, which I hope we have some time to do after this. When you learn that, okay, that you can push up like that, that rotational element helps getting the buttocks off the ground or off the chair for this matter. Okay, so my heels are up. You can take the block with you if you want. Inhale, exhale, block down, bring it in. Then feet up, turn. See if you can turn so much you can push off that bent arm and lift your hips off the chair. One arm is straight, other arm is bent. Point your toes, flex your feet, point your toes, come back, swing with the arms, come up, hold any part of the chair behind you like this, interlock your fingers. So you can do like this, arch your back, or you can interlock your fingers, arch your back, and release. All right, so I hope that's fun for you to play with the chair like this. Now, we can put the chair away. Let me check for the time. All right, so we're doing pretty good on ending on time. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. We won't have to go too far over. Just gonna check here. So now, same idea, but different. Okay, I'll show. So this requires, a prerequisite would be a comfortable malasana. Okay, so malasana is this pose. For many, this is hard on the ankles, knees, and you need bolster or blanket underneath the heels. Right? So malasana doesn't come easily. Roll up a blanket. Okay. See if you can do, knees can be separated, knees can be together. Can you squat down like this? Find your blocks. Up, this. Okay. Then lift your heels up. Buttocks up, heels down. Swing with the arms like this. And heels up, buttocks up. Okay. So I'll do it again. So up, over. This time, lifting, coming down. Lifting up even more. If you want to do without the blanket, no blanket, all good. More to balance this way. Arms around. Okay. Heels way up. Notice when the heels come up, the knees come up. More purchase for that arm. Then, this time, see if you can jump. Yes, you're going to push off and jump to the side. Okay. I'll show from behind. I'll show from here, the side view even. Okay. So before we were doing like this, and the arms were going to the side. Okay. Now I've got the block in front, heels lifted, I come down, the arms are to the side. Okay, before we were doing like this. Okay. Now we're like this. So now when you come to the side, see if you can jump, push off the hands, jump like that. Okay. Other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, throw the arms across, get the purchase of the arm against knee, lift hips, swing around and push off the block and jump. Okay, walk in, come up, exhale, find the blocks, adjust, lift up, push, that pumping action. So the point of the jump, well, just for fun, but also getting that rotational swing of the pelvis. Okay, if this is tricky or hard for you, of course, that's sort of the deal here. You could work on same thing as before, but this time climbing on. You don't have to worry about the jump right now. Okay? Maybe you do a little jump. Okay? Come down, swing around, opposite side, lift the heels, take the knee against arm, twist, start turning, walk the feet up, twist more, wag the tail, and then see if you can flick one foot up, tap the toes, come back, lift up, come back. It might be tricky on this side. On one side, it was a little trickier for me. Other side, easier. You could try without blocks. See how that is for you. Pressing down, cupping the fingers slightly, turning, twisting, walking feet up, humping, one foot up, one foot up, both feet up. This here, you have to hold a lot in the wrists. Come down, jump off, bring the arms around. Okay. Turn, walk the feet up, adjust as you need for the arm, lift up, and release. Whew, that's a lot on the shoulders now, huh? The deltoids, the upper arms. Hope you're feeling that in a good way. You will be a little sore later. Just FYI, all good. It's good hard work. So I hope that's some fun stuff. There's more, probably quite a bit more for the Parsva Bakasana. Lots of other ways to do this fun twisting arm balance. But for now, let's wind it down. If you have a blanket you can use, put a blanket, step on the blanket, bend your knees, Padahastasana, so palm underneath the sole of the foot, and actually just do one foot. So it's just one foot like this, and try to lift your hand up, push your foot down so you get a little traction of that arm. Then release, opposite, knees are bent, pushing sole of the foot into the palm of the hand, lift the hand up, arm is straight, push the foot down, get a little wrist traction. Then release, straighten your legs, come up. Try both. If you want to do both, just be careful not to tip forward. If you'd like to keep knees bent, great. If you want to straighten the legs, great. You can also bend one knee, lift the heel, massage out the palm of the hand, release the heel down, lift the other heel, the knee is bent, foot is massaging the hand, and release, come up, take the arms up, take a breather, come down, careful, reverse hand, foot up, okay. Any amount that feels good, you can do like this, or you can push the foot down, try to lift the hand up so you get a traction for the wrist, forearm with that pressure. Switch. You could try if you'd like. Careful not to fall forward, so just know your exit strategy. If you want to straighten the legs, possible to lift the heels up, buttocks up, way up, way up. Breathing here, then down. Now, any kind of forward fold of your choice with the head supported. So it could be, if you haven't had enough malasana, it could be some kind of malasana like this. Okay. It could be an uttanasana, head supported. It could be a prasarita padottanasana, your choice. Okay? So choose one position where you're folding forward, supporting the head, holding your ankles. You can do, again, malasana, holding ankles, head down. You can do, uttanasana, holding the ankles, gopasana, or prasarita padottanasana. Just use the position to quiet your brain, the vrittis of the mind, the fluctuations in our head. Let them dissolve and settle. And then whatever position you're in, undo, bend your knees, lower down to the ground, all the way down, and we'll rest on our back like we started class. Keep a bolster around for the crying position. So first just rest on your back, feet apart, arms apart, arms are wide apart. Then let the knees, thighs fall to the right side. The left hip buttocks lifts up. Take your arms overhead, catch your left wrist, and just give a slight tug of the arm away from the waist and chest. And release. Come back, center, over to the left side. Take the right arm over, catch your wrist, and a little tug of the arm away from the armpit chest. And release. Again, this time option 2, cross right foot over left knee and thigh. So as long as there isn't any pain in the knee, if there's pain, just be here. Okay, so no pain in the knee. Otherwise, use the foot against the thigh to traction the thigh away from the waist. Take your arm over. Move your tailbone slightly in. You get a little stretch in your lower outer back. And come up, switch. So like a figure 4 shape to begin, and then let the knees and thighs cross or drop. Use the foot pressure against the thigh to traction thigh away from the sideways. Take your arm over. And release. Come back to center. If you have a bolster nearby, use the bolster for Setu Bandha to Viparita Krani. So lift your buttocks up, lift your heels up, find the bolster or blocks, and put the blocker bolster against sacrum, top of buttocks. Press the backs of your arms, puff your chest so your collarbone is wide. Then bring the knees in towards the chest. Take the legs up. Take the legs wide. You can use your hands holding your outer thighs. Just support your legs or behind the legs, outer thighs. Circle the feet around a little bit. Switch direction of the circle. And bring the legs back to vertical position, Viparita Krani position. You can spread your toes, push with the mounds of the feet up, legs elevated, legs straight. Then bend your knee, feet down. Hug your right knee into the chest. Take the left leg out. Let it hover off the ground. And then take it out to the left side. Let your hips, legs swing to one side. Come back to center. Cross the midline. Go out to the side. Back to center. Just some fluid, relaxing movement of the leg and hip. Then switch, hugging the opposite knee in, extending this right leg out. Take the leg out to the side. Let the hips move along with the leg. Let the waist and chest move. Whatever's moving, let it move. Let it be a smooth, fluid, free movement. And then back to center, feet down. Okay, you can do Baddha Konasana, Setu Bandha, if that feels okay. Let go here, or you can do legs straight. Let the legs rest. Here, I like to move the bolster down slightly and let the legs rest in like a Shavasana while I have this support for Setu Bandha. Okay, you choose any version of Setu Bandha bridge pose you want to do. We'll rest here for a few moments and then we'll take final rest in Shavasana. Now, if you'd like to support yourself in Shavasana, one leg at a time, bend your knees, lift your hips, move the bolster behind your buttocks. So when the buttocks comes down, the backs of the thighs, legs are supported. Take your hands to your head, just lift the head, gently tug the skull away from the neck. The back of the neck is long. And then either arms to the side or hands on your abdomen. Let go from the effort of our practice, physically, mentally. Any information, new and familiar you learned, let it dissolve, let it integrate into your bones and muscles of the body. Let go and let loose. So physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, surrendering, detaching, letting go, letting loose. You can stay longer, much, much longer for your Shavasana. I'm just going to transition out to see if there's any questions or comments after class. If you want to join, you can. Otherwise, stay rested. If you're coming out, just take your arms overhead. Stretch to wake up out of Shavasana. Bend the knees, roll to one side wherever you have space. And push off the ground. And sit in any which way you like. And practice. Just compose yourself here. Collect yourself here after the practice. Off the mat and into your day or evening. We stay composed, centered, and collected with it. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Nikki, at Yoga Craft.